Good afternoon and welcome to today's press briefing. The Tribunal's President, Judge Theodor Meron, will address the United Nations Security Council today at 3 p.m. local time in New York, that is 9 p.m. in The Hague, to provide an update on the work of the Tribunal and the progress made towards the completion of its mandate. The President's address will be immediately followed by that of the Tribunal's Prosecutor. Press releases and copies of the President and Prosecutor's speeches will be issued subsequently. A delegation of the International Committee of the Red Cross completed its regular inspection of the Tribunal's Detention Unit last week. The ICRC is an internationally recognized body for its independent work in monitoring detention facilities throughout the world to ensure that they meet the internationally recognized standards of detention. The ICRC has been visiting the detention unit of the Tribunal on a yearly basis since 1995. During such visits, the ICRC also holds individual meetings with the ICTY detainees. The Tribunal prides itself with its high standards of detention and its continued efforts in ensuring that all accused are treated in accordance with the highest international detention standards. Last Friday, the trial chamber in the case of Ratko Mladic issued a decision in which it adopted the prosecution's proposal to limit its presentation of evidence to a selection of 106 crimes instead of the 196 initially scheduled crimes, and to reduce the number of municipalities in the indictment from 23 to 15. The chamber adopted the prosecution's proposal in the interests of a fair and expeditious trial and ordered that the amended indictment be filed within 2 weeks of the date of its decision. A further initial appearance in this case will be held tomorrow at 4 in the afternoon in Courtroom 1. During which the accused will be asked to enter a plea to the third amended indictment, which added crimes committed in the village of Bišina in eastern Bosnia and Herzegovina in July 1995. This will be followed by a status conference in the case. In the case of Vojislav Šešelj, the registrar informed the Tribunal's President on Monday of his decision to continue monitoring Šešelj's privileged communications. The accused has requested the President to review the registrar's original decision to monitor all his communications with his legal associates in accordance with Rule 65b of the Rules of Detention. Turning now to the upcoming court schedule, I'd like to flag up a few important dates for next year. The pre-defense conference in the case of Zdravko Tolimir will be held on Monday, the 9th of January at 2:15 in Courtroom 3. The start date of the defense case has yet to be confirmed pending the Chamber's decision on the accused's request to schedule the start of the trial, the defense case, for after the 20th of January 2012. Tolimir has announced that he will not be making any opening statements and will be calling 4 witnesses in his defense. This has led the Chamber to determine that the defense case could conclude in March 2012. All dates have yet to be confirmed. A status conference in the appeals case of Nikola Šajnović and others has been scheduled to be held on Thursday, the 19th of January at 3 p.m. in Courtroom 3. In the appeals case of Milan Lukic and Sredoje Lukic, a status conference will be held on Monday, the 23rd of January 2012 at 2:30 in Courtroom 3. In the case of Goran Hadžić, the Chamber announced last week that the next status conference will be held on Friday, the 17th of February at 2:30 in Courtroom 1. Turning now to the schedule for the remainder of this week and next, in the trial of Radovan Karadzic, the hearings this week were adjourned due to the ill health of the accused. The trial is scheduled to resume tomorrow at 9 in the morning in Courtroom 1 with the testimony of Andras Reinmeyer, an expert witness who will be testifying about the destruction of cultural heritage in Bosnia and Herzegovina. In the trial of Jovica Stanisic and Franko Simatovic, the Chamber is currently hearing the testimony of Manojlo Milovanovic, former chief of main staff of the VRS, who was recalled by Stanisic's defense in order to be further cross-examined in relation to Mladic's notes and audio tapes. Finally, in the case of Micho Stanisic and Stojan Župljanin, Župljanin's defense witness SZ007 is testifying in closed session. There is no representative of the Office of the Prosecutor here today, but there is a member of the Office of the Prosecutor in the room if you have any questions for the prosecution. Otherwise, I open the floor now for any questions that you may have for me. Any questions?
May I?
Yep.
Martin, it's almost a month since the appeal chambers issued arrest warrant for Florence Hartmann. Did you receive any communication from French or Dutch authorities regarding this arrest warrant?
To the best of my knowledge, we haven't received any such communication yet, and I believe it's up to the French authorities at the moment to carry out that order from the appeals chamber.
And do you think that the President of the Tribunal will report this non-compliance to the Security Council today when he speaks in New York?
First of all, I really can't speak for the President on this, what is essentially a judicial issue. And I'm not sure whether the case can be presented as non-compliance at this point. I'm simply not aware of any measures that the French or any other authorities, for that matter, may have taken in connection with the implementation of the order. So it would be really speculative of me to make any statement to that effect.
Thank you very much. One more question. Do you have any idea about when the judgment in Pechanet's case will be pronounced?
No, unfortunately I don't know, and I'm not sure if there is an estimated date for that yet, but I can check that and come back to you with an answer. Not at all. Any other questions? No? Well, in that case, we received a question from the public in the so-called Ask the Tribunal rubric. And the question was when the trial of Vojislav Šešelj is expected to conclude. And I can announce that closing arguments in this case have been scheduled to be held during the week of the 5th of March 2012. And the Chamber has granted 10 hours to both parties for the presentation of their respective closing arguments. Final trial briefs are to be submitted by the 5th of February 2012, and then the Chamber will render its judgment in due course. I presume there will be several months of judgment drafting before the judgment is actually rendered. Well, if there are no further questions, that concludes today's press briefing. Thank you.